if you don't use any hardware in your app, it would be a very convenient thing to do. Like which operating systems Flutter runs on? Like it runs on almost everything: iOS, Android, Web, Windows, macOS, Linux, and also embedded things like 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 you might have heard about Google's Nest and Google's smart homes. It also works on those, and it also runs on the Fuchsia OS, which is like Google's new OS for like embedded devices and all those things. For Fuchsia OS, currently it only accepts apps from Flutter. So all these fun stuff is from a single code base. So you write an app feature once, and you can access it from any platform available. If you build for that platform, you have to specifically target that platform and build the app for that platform. Mm, Like, why do you even want to use a cross-platform app if you can like make a native app for each platform, which arguably works better and is well optimized for the platform? Is like if you see that it's like a maze. So you have to manage all your production keys for your all your different platforms, and you have to manage many like apps sending stuff for your app in production. But if you will use a cross-platform app, it might not be that efficient as a native app, and that productive as a that efficient as a native app. But it would work like, especially when it comes to Flutter, it performs like on par with the native apps, and it also looks better than most native apps. Usually, like in native apps, they like give you very bare bones stuff, so you have to build up from on top of that on your own. So, but in Flutter, you get Material U and Infer and all those stuff by default, and you can make your apps look good without doing much. So when it comes to the architecture of Flutter, like in Flutter, everything is called like a widget. So every block of code every like block of UI stuff you write that works independently is called a widget. So a widget can use either Material Design or Cupertino Design. Like Cupertino is for iOS and Mac stuff, and Material Design is for Android. And when it goes down, there is the rendering part. Flutter, instead of unlike other cross-platform apps, which like directly calls the native stuff, like what React Native does is if you declare a button in the React Native code, then React Native goes ahead to the platform you are targeting and ask that platform to like build a button for it. But what Flutter does is that paints the button itself pixel by pixel, so you will get a better performance, and you don't have that extra step of asking the native platform to do stuff for you. And it also supports animations, gestures, and all the stuff you have. And on the back end, it's everything is written in C++ with a Skia rendering engine. So Skia is like a UI rendering engine for Flutter. It is written in C++, so it's very power efficient. And there is also Dart engine that runs on the bottom. So Flutter is built from ground up to be as as efficient as possible for a cross-platform app and look beautiful. And everything in Flutter is open source. So, like for if you are making a native app, they usually don't run in 60 FPS. They like auto adjust to like run in a different FPS and all those things. But every Flutter app you write, it will always run in 60 FPS. So it will always feel smooth and productive, smooth and fast. So well, it is also productive for you to write one code base. And like all cross platformers, Flutter also provides you hot reload. It's like when you are writing a website or something, you can like edit the code and save the stuff and see it's directly rendered instantly. It's the like the main drawback of a native platform is like every time you make some changes, you have to rebuild the app again completely. So it takes a lot of time. But in Flutter, with hot reload, happens instantly. So it would feel like you are making a app and a web app or a website. Then you are building an entire project over and over again. So and also Flutter by default uses material design, so it always looks good on any device you use. Material design is very big on animations and the and scalability of the apps. So your apps will also look good on different platforms, and everything is open source. Like Flutter is open source. You can go to Flutter github.com/Flutter to see the full source code of the Flutter app, Flutter framework, and how it works. So, like we discussed that Flutter is like mostly a front end framework. So if you want to use the backend for it, Flutter integrates very well with Firebase. So it's like since both Flutter and Firebase are developed by Google, they integrate very well with each other. If you don't know what Firebase is, like it's uh, it's like a backend platform that allows you to authenticate your users. Like it provides you the sign in with Google and sign in with Microsoft. All those buttons you see in the apps, it will provide you those, and it will provide you analytics and cloud messaging. And cloud messaging is like you can like promote your app. So if, for example, if Amazon is conducting a sale or something, they will send you a like promotional notification from their app to that the sale is going to happen. So similar to that, you can do all those things in Flutter. Or if you wanna go do it everything on your own, you can always use Google Cloud to host your apps. So Flutter is also for the Flutter Festival. They are providing you free cloud quick lab rooms, like quick lab assignments. So I'll provide you the links after after this session. So you'll get the free Flutter Essentials, Flutter Development, and Firebase and Google Cloud, like it will say like labs, like the events. So that's it for like what is Flutter and why you might want to use Flutter. So if you want to get started with Flutter, how can we get started with Flutter? So for this, you primarily need Visual Studio Code or Android Studio. Both are so it's recommended to use Android Studio since Android Studio is made by Google, so it is optimized for stuff. But no IDE existing like is specifically made for Flutter. You have to install a Flutter plugin for it to work perfectly on Flutter. So like if you can just install the Flutter plugin. But you might want to use Android Studio since because it offers it automates the process of installing Android SDK by yourself. You have to manually install Flutter SDKs like yourself, but the setting up Android SDKs can be a hassle without using Android SDKs. So I recommend if you are getting started with Flutter to use Android Studio. So you have an for so for installing Android Studio, just go to and search Android Studio and go to the first website that comes in, and you can download Android Studio from here. To set up Flutter, like go to like type in Flutter download or something, you will get the link to download for different operating systems. I'm using Windows, so if you are to download the file, you will get a zip file, and if you extract the file, you will get a folder, and you can just extract the file. And after extracting the file, you have to do some stuff. So you have to go to the bin folder and copy the path, and you have to add this to your environment variables. So click on your PC properties and advanced system settings and environment variables. So you have to add this to your path. So select path and double click. I have like already added button in here. I have already added Flutter in here, so I don't have to add again. So just if you want to use Flutter, then after doing that, open your command prompt or terminal and type in Flutter doctor. Will check and suggest you if you have installed it properly or not. So like for me, everything is installed. For you, probably there will be some like stuff it might say not accepted, or like you might have to accept some licenses for and all the stuff. It will provide you the commands you need to accept those licenses. Just if you just run the command Flutter doctor, and if you see any weird errors, it will provide a command to fix that error. So just copy paste the command. And also go to Android Studio and go to the plugin section and search for Flutter and install Flutter plugin. It will also ask you to install Dart plugin with it. You have to restart. You might have to restart the Android Studio once. When it's done, you will see a button here, create new Flutter project. So let's say you have to like manually specify the Flutter path. You have to do this every time. So unlike since Flutter is not natively supported by any IDEs, you have to do these things every time. Maybe only the specifying the path. So let's say this project. So you can here you can select the language you want to use for the Android and iOS app. Like you don't have to use if you don't know what you have to do in the stuff. It's just for if you might want to use the Android and iOS specific code, like if you want to use the camera of the app, a camera to Flutter app, you have to like specifically write the camera stuff in the native code on your own. So, or else you can use some plugin. You most probably there would be a plugin for you to do stuff. You don't have to write any native like platform specific code. But if you have to anyway, it, it's for in that case. Like so, you can also enable for Windows. Like let's enable it for Windows and run Flutter app on Windows. So, like it shows the command here to enable. It's for Linux, so Windows it would be similar to that. Like
Vinil.
yeah,
Now Flutter comes with a stable version of Windows, so we don't
yeah.
have to
Like
write
I
this.
have installed the latest one, but you can't enable it.
No, you don't have Flutter create, it will do automatically.
I mean,
Okay,
like
you're
I'm
using.
using Android Studio. Like
Okay, okay.
if you don't use, you have to set up the parts all this. So like hasn't enabled, so it's asking me to restart the Android Studio. For Windows, you have to also, if you want to run it on Windows, you also have to install Visual Studio, and install like desktop development with C++ to run it in Windows. On Linux, it would be you don't have to install any stuff here. You might have to install build config or something. So there's that. Yeah, here it is enabled Windows. So Windows project name should always be in lowercase. It's like for follow similar to the web stuff. So for in React and all those, you have to so you can create the project. Uh, So you have to wait for a few minutes for the first time to set up all those dependencies for you. So let's wait few minutes for it to be done. Shouldn't take much long. Like in the meantime, like if you are setting up for Linux, like it's basically the same stuff, so, except you have to download the Linux zip file, or you can use Snap to directly install. But like most people don't like Snap, so like you can download this zip file and instead of copying this to path in Linux, like for example in the in WSL, Like you have bash RC file, bash RC file. Just go to the bottom or anywhere and type in port and like paste the part of the paste the part of Flutter where you extracted the zip file in the bin folder, so it will recognize it and save it by typing y. I'm not saving it. Yes. So it's done. So you can select it for Windows and just run it. In Fl- so in Ender Studio, you have to select project field. So to see the full project structure, and you will write all your code in main.dot, or you can main.dot. So the main the main function in the main.dot is executed every time. It's like in C or Java where you have to write like the main you have to start your app in the main function. So you can always add more files and reference those files from the main folder. And so the initial builds might take a bit more time than the others. Bash or something. Um, Serving out for case. So let's
I think
try
you have
for
not
the
enabled the what we say developer options in Windows.
uh, run for Chrome accidentally. So let's see how it runs in web. So it's like the demo app that you get by default. So essentially, like you can write an app and run it in a web browser or run it in native ports or run it as a mobile app. Like, I haven't configured. I guess I haven't configured properly for Windows yet. Maybe have to enable developer mode and all those.
Can I show for the Windows?
Yeah. Mm.
Wait a sec. Hello.
Yeah.
It is visible to all of you.
Yes, it is
Yeah. Yeah.
visible.
Okay. So first start with the okay. So if you are working on terminal, then this is the command to make a new project, a kind of folder. And see, you can see here the Windows files are present, and here the web files are present. And this is the Android section of the app, and this is the iOS sections of the app. And here is the lib folder where all the code are present, which will be written in the Dart code. So I will select Windows desktop. So this you can think of like a hello world of the Flutter, where the main first everything starts from here, and actually the Flutter is like a tree-like structure. So every app has its parent. So for this my homepage, the parent is the my material app. Do you have anything to ask till now? Hello, hello.
Oh, yes, you're
No,
audible.
sir.
तो कुछ पूछना है अभी तक? I think till now which Vineel has discussed what I'm doing. Yeah, you can see this is the first app, Counter app, which we have seen on Windows. Now on Chrome is now on Windows desktop also. And the basic steps are that only that Vinil has said that we have to first install the Visual Studio. Then after that, we have to install the application, and from there we can use the desktop version of Flutter also. Hello, Vinil.
Yeah,
Now you can take it over from here.
like, like that's it. I was planning only until showing the demo. So we'll do the coding or how to make an app from next week. So if you have any questions, anyone has any questions, you can ask
Or
now.
any suggestion which kind of app you want to see.
Yeah,
Something that involves connecting to the database, please.
Yeah, which involves backend or something, and not to do apps.
like we can do the Firebase. Can-
You can make something like, say, a quiz app which stores the data, like quiz points of the user to Firebase.
Or something more related to college thing, which can
But
be
that will
implemented
take a
used.
long time, now. You have to show in like an hour or something. If anyone has any other suggestion, please forward.
Can we have some animations in it?
Yeah, animation we can do, but it will be a part of the learning process when we'll make the app.
Like you usually do animation with the last when you do everything else when you are learning.
Yeah.
We can show it, but it wouldn't make that much sense using doing animations.
Uh,
I'm posting the links, which are like those are like free labs provided by the Flutter team for Good Cloud, Flutter, and Firebase Essentials.
I'll post these on GDSC announcements as well.
Yeah, and they also give you like $10, 10 credits for each link or something like this.
Because as a part of the Flutter campaign, do we need to finish these?
No, like there isn't any goals or something. They are just if you want to learn.
Are we going to do this today or some other day?
Like you don't have to do anything. They are just to learn.
Like a self-learning thing.
Therefore, there aren't like any specific challenges or something. They're just for
Okay.
if you want them.
We can make something clone some features while showing. If nobody has the app idea, then anything would be.
Vineel, if like this thing is over, should I announce the ideathon with
Yeah, yeah,
shortlisted names? Yeah.
yeah. You can.
Vijay,
Yeah,
you can start.